It can be hard to get your big idea started, to write the first lines of code for software that will change the world, to hire the team that will make your dream a reality. That's why we built a different cloud, one that's comprehensive without complexity, that gets you up and running in minutes and stays with you every step of the way. Because simpler tools lead to happier developers, and happier developers get better results. Build with us. Grow with us at DigitalOcean.
We're live.
We're live.
We are live. Hey, guys.
This is Season 2, Episode 8, being broadcast on the 21st of April, 2022. And our title this week is Stolen Tokens, Merge Diffs, and a DuckDuckGo Browser.
This is the first one where we have a new guest you may have not seen before.
That's me. Hey, everybody. My name is Ado Kukic. I joined DigitalOcean about a month ago. And this is my first Cloud Chats episode, and super excited to be here.
Yeah, definitely. So let's jump into our hello world this week. So if you're in chat, say hello. Let us know where you're from. We always love to see the wide-reaching audience that we have. And whilst you're there as well, have a go answering this question. Where would you be if you didn't end up in tech? Or if you're not in tech, where would you be if you didn't end up in the current industry you're in? Complicated question, I know.
That's a fun question, too, is if you're watching and you're not in tech, what do you do?
True.
I'd like to think I would be in some sort of education still. I think that's been the through line through my whole career, whether it be my first job was swim teacher for kids. Second was tutoring, and then I tutored through college, and then I wrote technical tutorials after that.
Okay.
Yeah, so pick a random topic, try to teach it. What about you guys?
So I'll dive in there more, actually, Chris. Would you still be like within tech education, or is there like another subject that you're quite keen to teach?
I've always been fond of fitness and just overall health, but I feel like the fitness industry is just doesn't need another one. Especially when not as buff as, everybody else in there. So
I would pay for your coaching, Chris.
Thanks, Otto. I would definitely niche it down to like technical people, coders that want to just be a little healthier.
Yeah, you should do it. I mean, that's the next startup idea for you, is do that. Because I look at your lifestyle and you stay impressively fit as a person.
Thanks. One thing about this lifestyle of fitness is it's never enough. So you never feel fit, which welcome to the club, What's up, Bleeb over on Twitch? What's up, Aziz over on Twitch as well? Ong on Facebook. What's up? Otto is also pretty into fitness himself. He sent me one of his workouts the other day, and it was something I would never do. Swell in.
I've been getting more and more into it, but that's mainly because my wife is such an athlete, and if she didn't drag me into it, I probably would be a couch potato. But it's all good. But for me, if I didn't end up in tech, I think I would do something around finance, accounting, stock trading. I've always been really, really passionate about math and numbers. And I think, as close as you could get to tech without being in tech, I think finance is very close.
Is stocks these days about math, or is it about just getting lucky with like picking Doge?
Sorry, my audio cut out for a second.
What about you, Matt?
So I think if I hadn't ended up in kind of like software engineering, I would have ended up in technical theatre, which is like very tech adjacent still. And the only reason I'm not in it, frankly, because I arguably enjoy it more than software engineering, is COVID. Right as I was finishing school, COVID hit, and it kind of just pushed me into being remote and doing software engineering. So I would be in a theatre today if I wasn't in tech.
Any chance to merge those two worlds in the future? Still?
I think so. Yeah, there is actually a huge amount of software engineering that goes into productions nowadays.
I bet.
Yeah, a lot of the automation and stuff is pretty intense, even compared to when I last looked at it.
Are they using JavaScript?
I doubt it. I imagine it's quite low level, because they want that reliability. But you never know. And if not, Chris, we can always put some JavaScript in there.
Solid. I don't know. I had a kind of early morning crisis where I'm like, maybe I shouldn't write JavaScript anymore. But I think I'll save that for what's on my mind.
Wow, you're leaving us. You're leaving the JavaScript community.
I honestly might. Not fully, but mostly. We'll talk about it.
There you go. Teaser for later.
Teaser. Yeah, I'm trying to get better at those. What's up, Airbox? Would be a carpenter if not in software engineering. I like that because that right there is pretty much what we do, right?
Yeah, so that justification's really good.
Of what?
Well, just the whole building stuff as the reason for like going into whatever you do. It's quite it's a nice outlet.
Yeah, I kind of want to get like a 3D printer or get into hardware a little bit more, just physically seeing the things you build.
Mm-hmm.
We've got sports.
I will say I have a 3D printer downstairs. Never used it.
Is the ecosystem around it different these days? Because I remember when they first came out, they would all like break down and nobody built anything.
So it seems like there's a far bigger ecosystem around it. The issue I have is that there's still a lot of very proprietary software for it. So like the printer we have downstairs has its own software for slicing. I'm like, why is this a thing? Surely 3D printers all run on like a standard that exists. I think that does exist to an extent, but it's just still not quite there from what I've seen. But also I'm not very into it, so I could just be missing something.
So the 3D printer world is very similar to the normal printer world almost?
There is so I have a 3D printer in my garage, and there is a piece of software that I forget what it is, but I have it installed in a Raspberry Pi, and it's emitting when it's all plugged in. It like just listens on port 3000. I forget the name of it, but it allows me to fully control everything, see how the print is going. I could kick off a new print. I feel like it's really unsecure, and anybody with the with the right IP address could access it and do some fun prints. But it works and saves me from moving a SD card back and forth. So,
all right, we'll send some stuff over.
There you go. Ado has just offered his 3D printer to the world.
Yeah.
What else have we got in chat? We did Swellen doing sports, Gabriel being a pastor. Pretty cool. And then Zam letting us know that 3D printers do use a standard. Cool. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, we glad to see it.
There you go. Maybe there is a bit of the ecosystem that I'm missing then. Maybe I should just try it out sometime.
Yeah, you want to?
Oh, and a friendly face. We've got Mason saying he'd be in academia if he wasn't in tech. Makes sense.
Aren't you going into academia after this?
Is
I
Mason?
think I remember. I think I remember Mason saying that at his alma mater, doing some stuff.
Oh. Well, there you go.
There you go. Weeb says, "Hello, Mason. Long time no see." Yes, welcome, Mason.
You know, we're what, 3 episodes in now to not having Mason here. Feels like we need him back as a guest. It's been long enough now.
Absolutely.
Shall we
I would
jump
throw
into
him
some
on right
news?
now. Yes, let's jump into the news.
Do-do-do-do. Don't have the sound effects anymore. Sorry, Mason, we let you down on that one. Right, news. What have we got? Releases. First one here. Highlights from Git 2.36. It's a new Git version. Happens every so often. Interesting thing in this one though is that there's now, if you use Git diff and Git show, there's now a new flag which is remerge diff, which does a better job of showing how a merge commit occurred. I think. I'll be honest, Git merges still break my brain if I look at them too much.
100%.
They break my brain so much. I have, and please don't yell at me in chat, I've started liking the GitHub app, the desktop app.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest, like using a GitHub GUI, whether it's GitHub Desktop or any of the other ones, has been a lifesaver for me more times than I'm willing to admit. So much so that if you were to tell me right now, write a Git command, I could probably do like Git clone and Git push, but any of the merge or anything more complicated than that, I would just, I would be way out of my element without GitHub Desktop.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. I love Git GUIs. They're so nice. They do a really good job of making a lot of the complex commands very apparent.
Yeah.
But my stance has always been, though, if you're using a GUI, you should at least know the CLI commands for that one time that the GUI doesn't work.
Yep. And the thing I love about the GUIs is just the visual representation of seeing the diff, seeing the difference. For me, it's a much smaller mental load to look at 2 merges or look at 2 commits side by side and see what's changed, than try to parse it through the command line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. Well, there you go. As a new version of Git, you'll probably like the rest. If you're listening to this, you're probably like the rest of the world and have never updated Git before because it just comes with your operating system. But this is your reminder that you can update Git and there are new updates for it every so often.
I think I'm still rocking like 2.1, 1.2.
It happens.
Oh, well. All right.
Oh,
What's next?
Next up, NeoVim 0.7 has been released. The important thing from their breaking changes list down here is that Python 2 support is gone. So you need Python 3 and specifically something greater than Python 3.6. That's all.
Cool. I don't use NeoVim myself. Do any of you?
Nor do I. But I did notice I updated macOS recently and Python 2's gone.
Yeah, it's been a slow burn, but I feel like Python 2 is finally properly being sunsetted and not used by a lot of projects anymore, which has been a long time coming, but Python 3 all the way.
Yeah, definitely. So there you go. Update NeoVim, but make sure you've got updated Python first. Next up, the Rome formatter has been released, announced, published.
I think announced with a very light release. I tried installing the VS Code extension just to see how much faster it was than Prettier, because if you scroll down, their performance review on it.
Oh yeah.
I never thought Prettier was slow,
Yeah.
but if it can be faster, I'll take it. And I couldn't get the install to work. I couldn't get the plugin to work.
Oh, oof. It does say more coming soon. I think they called the CLI up here an early alpha. So yeah, I think they've got a ways to go still, but it's pretty cool to see this actually happening. I feel like it's pretty close to a year ago now that we actually like first discussed Rome on the show.
Mm.
So it's nice to see that it's actually happening.
Yeah, and I wish they would have put alpha in the title because I spent so much time like trying to get this to work.
Does the extension even say it's alpha? It does say it's preview. Chris.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I know, but
It warned you.
it's a formatter. I expected to install and then go to my VS Code and say format document, and it just then it was like, okay, well now go npm install like 50 things. Like, oh.
Yeah. You could also say it's very new. There's only 4,000 installs and 1 review.
It worked on that guy's machine.
And I'm 100 of those installs.
Yeah. Well, there you go. If you want to start poking around, you can. I'm sure it'll improve over time.
I think it's interesting, though, that Rome, they said it was the full rewrite was in Rust, and I'm seeing more and more projects started adapting Rust as the kind of language that tooling runs on. I know Go used to be really popular in, and I guess still is, but Rust seems to be really taking over, allowing developers to really get high performance out of tooling, out of plugins, and things like that. Have you guys used Rust at all?
I've kind of like sat alongside one project written in Rust, and that's it. Other than my Twitter timeline being continually full of Rust, still.
I think I want to. I mean, I definitely said I wanted to learn Go, and then I kind of waited that one out. And Go's still around, obviously, but it seems like Rust is getting that big push. I started using warp.dev, a new terminal, and I use it exclusively now.
Warp
built on
is
Rust.
So cool.
And it's so fast, too. I love Warp.
I can do a demo in a bit if you want, because I do have it installed as well. It's
nice. Let's see it.
A very neat tool. But before we do that, what else we got? Releases. Ruby 3.2.0 Preview 1 is now available to poke around and test. And it comes with WASM support, of all things. So now you can run CRuby as a WASM executable, which is pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah, I also haven't messed with WASM much. The list of things that Chris needs to do.
But yeah, there's WASM support. I think there's also, I've lost my mouse completely. There we go. And there's also support for regex timeouts as well, which is pretty cool. So if you've got an unhappy regex expression, there's now a global timeout that you can set that will stop it.
Oh, I love that.
So Ruby is TM no longer susceptible to DOS attacks in regex. And then finally, we have Qemu. QEMU? Qemu?
Qemu? I see an emu in the back.
Yeah. I don't know. Version 7's out with a load of stuff that I'm sure makes sense to those that work with it and do low-level stuff. One thing I did notice, though, which is pretty cool, is that there's now proper support for RISC-V. But yeah.
Cool.
If you use this, I'm sure this is a pretty important release to you. There's over 2,500 commits involved.
Oh, wow.
That's how you
But
know
I don't understand it.
I don't use any of these tools if I just cool.
That's it. That's releases. Now we can jump into main thread stuff.
All right.
Here we go.
Pew.
Nice. First of all, we have a security alert published by GitHub. A load of OAuth user tokens were taken from 2 third-party integrators, specifically Heroku and Travis CI. It's believed that these tokens were obtained via a compromised AWS API key, and the tokens were used by the attacker to download a set of private repositories. If you were impacted by this, GitHub will have sent you an email. And Heroku and Travis have also kind of, on their own, started looking into this. Heroku have completely removed their GitHub integration at the present. So if you were using Heroku GitHub, it just won't work currently. And Travis went for the option of just revoking and reissuing every token. So yeah, look through your security logs on GitHub, because it will be in there. You'll see that these are being revoked, and if you were impacted, you'll also see the download events and stuff.
Very
I gotta
interesting.
go
Yeah.
check my emails.
Yeah. So yeah, I say if you haven't got an email from GitHub, don't quote me on this, but you're probably fine. GitHub is normally pretty good at figuring out these things and notifying people. So yeah, there you go. Tokens are bad. Don't trust people with tokens.
Yeah, and it's shame Heroku and Travis. I mean, I would imagine they have probably one of the best, or at least cutting edge security teams. And if it can happen to them, it can happen to you. And working with OAuth tokens, like one of I used to work for a company called .0 for a while, and dealing with tokens, identity, authentication. There is so many ways to get it wrong, and the consequences can be so absolutely devastating, especially when you're working with tokens. And I'm glad they were able to find it, hopefully quickly enough, that there wasn't a bigger impact. But don't roll. I guess my piece of advice is don't roll your own authentication systems. Rely on OAuth, but also, just because you are using an industry standard doesn't mean that it's secure by default, and you really got to understand the entire space. It's so important.
Believe that is the most terrible advice I've ever heard.
Should we be using no password? What are they? Magic logins?
Magic tokens, magic links.
Yeah, magic links. All email logins, all text logins.
I love them, but at the same time, they feel so easy to compromise, because that makes your email a single point of failure for everything.
Yeah. Honestly, in like UI wise, when I'm logging into Uber Eats, maybe too many times a week, it says like, here's your text message, and it's easy enough, right? But if you go poll Twitter, everyone's gonna hate on like passwordless logins. But I feel like us developers don't like it, but most of the world does.
Yeah, so like the reason we don't like it is because we have kind of an awareness
We know.
of the flaws, but to the rest of the world, it's just magic. It works. That's why they're called magic links.
Yeah, and there is that new standard WebAuthn for hardware-based authentication. So whether you have a physical token or using your physical device to authenticate, like that's the most secure way. But so far, all of the implementations have been so kind of meh and not great. Which great security experience from a security standpoint, but from a user experience, terrible. So you can have the most secure system, but if nobody's going to use it, or if you make it difficult for the end user, then adoption is going to be low. And really, in the authentication space, there has to be that balance between great user experience and great security.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know.
the more complex you make it, you've got to incentivize it somehow. I think I saw a tweet about this recently. For a long time, Mailchimp had a 10% discount if you enabled 2FA on your account, and they've just removed it.
Is that because nobody used it or too many people used it?
I'm gonna hope too many people used it, and everyone's now using 2FA. But I thought that was a brilliant way to kind of just make 2FA more kind of open and something you want to do.
Yeah. I still think of like trying to get my mom on Authy or Google Authenticator, and yeah, I don't know, that once we figure something out for, I don't know, user experience, I guess.
Yeah, so I think the hardware auth thing is probably the way forward over time, because more and more laptops now have a fingerprint reader.
Mm-hmm.
So once that browser integration gets there, it will just be seamless for anyone.
I think one area where we need a lot of innovation is managing remote two-factor authentication. One example, I guess, would be our parents. Like sometimes I'll try to help my parents out by logging into one of their accounts, like their email or something to their health insurance, and a lot of those already have 2FA set up. So you rely on the other person to call them, log into their account, have them read you the code. But it's not a great experience. I would love to see some sort of delegation where you can, have trusted people that can also receive 2FA tokens on your behalf, impersonation or, something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be great for user experience.
I guess you can kind of achieve that right now. It's not like Authy because it syncs 2FA to the cloud, right? So you could have a shared Authy account, but it's not ideal.
I wonder if you can do 2 accounts per Authy, or I guess you just add it to your account.
Yeah.
I
mean,
that's a great idea. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, LastPass also has the ability to do 2FA right in itself, and then you could share that item, I think. There's ways to do it, but it's not intuitive at all.
Yeah. I mean, anything is better than, hey, Mom, text me that code, and then it's expired.
30 seconds later, Well, there you go. As we said, if you're on GitHub, check your email to see if you've been part of this attack. Next up, DuckDuckGo has a macOS browser.
Do we know what's under the hood on this?
Yes, I was reading into this. It does go into it in this article. It's not Chromium.
Okay.
It's using WebKit. It makes just a native macOS call to go render this web page. So it's the same tech as Safari.
Interesting.
Which I'm quite a fan of, frankly. Having what could become quite a mainstream browser that's not Chromium is very nice to see. And because it's on the Safari engine, it should be really quite performant.
What are they doing to handle extensions?
I don't think it really says. But I assume it'll be there because it's the same Safari engine. It'll be very similar to Safari's extension support, which is interesting. I'm sure they'll figure it out.
I'm all for it. Yeah.
Yeah. What else do they say? They have built-in tracker blocking, so not ad blocking, but specifically blocking trackers. And the other really interesting feature, which was in here somewhere, was cookie management.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up for that one.
Accept cookie pop-ups for you.
Is it gonna automatically accept the least amount of like only the required ones, or is it just gonna?
The copy here says will also automatically maximize your privacy when doing it.
Okay, so I would assume yes then.
But I'm really curious to see the logic for how that's actually going to work. But yeah, and the other thing they noted as well, it's not currently open source during the beta period, but once it's fully released, it will be an open source browser. which I think, builds on that whole thing of DuckDuckGo being about privacy. So,
Yeah, I use an extension for cookies called I don't care about cookies, and it just I think display nones any pop up
Mhm.
that has the word cookie inside of it. But yeah, I believe says deny them automatically. I think that's great.
Also, if your extension is display none them, in theory, is denial.
That's right. Yeah.
Under the theoretical law, they can't set the cookies until you press the accept button. But yeah, I'm not sure how many sites actually follow that. But yeah, there you go. If you want to try it out. Let us know how it goes. Really cool to see a new browser on the market that's not Chromium.
Yeah. So I mean that really means, well, like Edge is now Chromium. Chrome is obviously Chromium.
Brave is Chromium.
Brave is Chromium. So there's really two engines left, right? We have the Safari WebKit and Chromium.
We have Firefox as well, which is SpiderMonkey / Gecko. So that's the other engine that exists still. But yeah.
How is
Chromium.
Firefox usage these days?
That's a really good question. Let's have a look, shall we? Firefox suggestion. My brain is not with it. Firefox has a page where they talk about user activity, which is really cool.
I'm going to look for browser usage.
So April 11th, so the start of last week, there were 200 million active clients.
Go to gs.statcounter.com.
gs.statcounter.com. Yeah, not great. Sorry. Firefox,
Look at
3.4.
If you scroll to the top, though, look at that fifth browser.
Samsung Internet?
Samsung Internet. Are those just Android phones?
Yeah, presumably that's just the default browser on all Samsung phones.
Almost 3%. That's actually kind of impressive when you think about all the devices in the world. Wow. Go Samsung.
But yeah, so what we've got here, we've got Chromium, WebKit, Chromium, SpiderMonkey. I'm gonna guess that Samsung Internet's Chromium. Someone correct me if I'm wrong here.
I bet you it's proprietary.
And then Opera is, I think, its own engine still as well.
Okay, I totally forgot about Opera. They even existed still.
Don't worry, most people have as well. It's only 2%.
Can you scroll down and see if there's like desktop split?
Mobile versus desktop. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah, but I wanted to break out the browsers per.
Oh, browsers on desktop. Is there a way to filter this?
Airbox makes a good point. DuckDuckGo and Brave are now both search engines and browsers. I haven't used Brave Search myself.
Here you go. This is desktop browser market share.
There you go, Bleeb. Safari, because of iPhone, I think is the fair point.
Safari's still third on desktop. Not bad. But Firefox gains a lot of traction when you look at this.
And Samsung Internet is nowhere to be found.
IE's back.
Samsung. It is Chromium. There you go.
Good to know.
Well, there we go. DuckDuckGo as a browser. Go try it out. Enjoy some privacy.
I like this next news item.
The future of web is marketing copy generated by algorithms. Okay. So what's the story here?
Oh, did you drop this in?
I didn't drop this in, but we can talk about it.
Okay, so I think this is essentially OpenAI.com is AI that can like write for you. You could say, hey, give me a tutorial on how to run really fast, and it like will generate paragraphs. It'll write instructions for you, and there was a really fun article I think a month ago where somebody fed OpenAI all of the Hacker News articles for the past month, and then OpenAI generated articles that gamed the system that went straight to #1 of Hacker News like 3 times in a row.
Okay.
So all of this like fake content that's AI generated that seems human is like really, really SEO friendly, and clickbaity and all the things that make humans click it and go to it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm looking at reading this article here. It sounds like there's a service called Jasper that uses GPT-3, which is OpenAI's magic, to generate marketing copy. And Jasper currently claims to have more than 55,000 paying customers, which is ridiculous.
Good for
And then
Jasper.
OpenAI then commented saying that there's a competitor to Jasper that has over 1 million active users.
Is that copy.ai? There's a few. This space has kind of exploded since OpenAI came out, because really all of these are just UIs on top of OpenAI, really.
Mm-hmm.
And but Google's also come out and said AI content should not have SEO like precedence. So I think they're trying to downplay AI content.
But how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you tell what's AI written?
Make an AI to tell itself. But then would AI snitch on itself?
I wonder if we'll start seeing in the future like disclaimers at the end of articles saying, "Hey, this blog post was generated by AI." I wonder if like it'll become law just for. But then like I don't know. Should it?
Yeah, should it? I don't think so. Because at the end of the day, if the content is correct and relevant to the reader,
Yeah.
Does it matter who generated it?
Exactly.
Yeah. The thing for me, right, is it still needs to be proofread by a human to make sure it's correct.
Yeah.
But if it's correct, yeah, I don't mind how it was generated. It's content to consume.
I think we're in the Wild West days of AI, where there's a lot of stuff to figure out, and it's really technology that we don't we're just starting to understand bits and pieces of it, and I foresee over the next 5-10 years it's gonna explode dramatically. Like everything will be powered by AI. I mean, we just saw a couple of days ago, Google is adding in Google Docs like AI powered suggestions for your copy, and that I think as we get further and further into the future, more and more apps will become AI assisted, just like our cars have autopilot or lane keeping. I can foresee a lot of our day-to-day stuff being supplemented by AI in various ways. And even in Gmail, like 80% of the time whenever I'm typing an email, Google will autocomplete it for me pretty accurately. So I welcome our future AI overlords.
Yeah, no, I totally agree though. I think that's the most likely future. AI kind of just being a supplement to what we do.
Yeah. Look at Copilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have we got next?
This is
Oh,
a
boy.
fun one.
Oh,
Speaking of AI.
So, Twitter drama. I've honestly lost track of what's happened here at this point. Elon bid to take over the whole of Twitter, and then wanted to join the board. No, he got invited to join the board, said no to joining the board. The Twitter board then took a poison pill to stop Musk taking over the company. And now Musk and Dorsey are both having a go at Twitter. Is that the correct summary?
I believe that's the correct summary. As far as I know it, I don't know if there's anything that's happened since. Honestly, they offered like a lot of money. Take it and run.
So the latest with that is Elon has published with the SEC this morning that he has funding secured to acquire Twitter at 5420. He's putting up like 21 billion, taking 12.5 billion in margin loans, and then another 12 billion from in some other debt to acquire Twitter. So, he looks really serious about making this offer, and with having the funds secured and ready to go, I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on the Twitter board, and really fun to see this drama play out.
So yeah, it sounds then that he's not backing down after his initial bid.
Yeah.
Believe sums this up perfectly.
Oh yeah, I will not join the board. I will take the board. It's good.
You can't beat him at chess. Flip the board.
And Airbox as well. Tweeting tweets about Twitter drama in Twitter. Yes. That has been, other than the rust on my timeline, this has been the other thing.
Yeah. I saw somebody tweet yesterday that Elon Musk is the Kim Kardashian for nerds.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes.
I don't know, yeah. I'm really enjoying watching the drama, but I am, there's a bit of me that's slightly worried what the future of Twitter is at this point.
I was worried about the future of Twitter months ago.
True. Yeah.
I mean, what is the president of Twitter really?
Read below for my thoughts. That's right.
Oh dear. But yeah,
Like I want to give Twitter money for Twitter Blue. I met my wife on Twitter, and I support Twitter and I love Twitter, but they haven't really given me a reason to give them money, and I feel like that should be number one. Twitter Blue doesn't really do anything for me.
yeah.
What are the benefits of Twitter Blue? It's just
Undo tweet.
undo tweet.
Let's have a look.
And this weird like ads free other websites thing.
What is Twitter Blue? Wow, this is a really helpful page, Twitter. That definitely explains exactly what happens in Twitter Blue.
And the one thing that's new that I liked was Fleets, and they got rid of that for Spaces, which personally I don't really care for.
Mhm.
I will care for Spaces once it works on desktop properly. But the fact it's mobile only is ridiculous.
Well, Fleets also wasn't like super thought out. I mean, it just felt like a clone of Instagram stories or Facebook stories. It didn't really stand on its own and didn't really provoke, like it was the same content. And I think that they also had a blog post on it as well, saying that they had hoped Fleets would get inactive users to participate more, but all it did was cause people that were already super engaged on Twitter to just
To be
fleet
more
their
engaged?
tweets. No. They would basically just take their tweets that they already tweeted
Oh.
and screenshot them and put them as a fleet to like double the engagement.
Then
they
they
were
should have
like-
removed that feature. I enjoyed it because I could like share dumb stuff that I didn't want in people's feeds, like cats and whatever. But I don't know.
But yeah. Also, I've just read through this original blog post for Twitter Blue, and you are correct. The only actual feature is undoing a tweet.
I would actually pay $10 a month to get rid of promoted tweets.
I am with you on that.
So Twitter, if you're listening, We want to give you money.
Yeah. Twitch does it with Twitch Turbo. Get rid of ads across the entire site.
YouTube does it with premium.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Do you play the game of blocking every account that promotes a tweet on your timeline?
No, I hide a lot of those and say irrelevant, and I do aggressively mute people.
Mm-hmm.
But I
But
think I'll
it
play that game.
doesn't seem to do much, you know.
Yeah, there's
Twitter
always
does
more.
not learn.
There's always more to fill in the spots.
Yeah. And we've got space news. How exciting! Can't have a Cloud Chats episode without some space news. James Webb has its coldest instrument is now cold.
It looks
think
like a
it's-
giant piano.
Yeah.
Upside down.
Yeah, they just. All right, Matt, tell us the deets.
So James Webb, if you don't know, is a giant space telescope. Replaces the Hubble, but is much better. And to be better, it needs to be really, really cold. And what this article is basically saying is that the coldest bit of it, which is the instrument that actually kind of measures the infrared radiation that makes the image, has reached its operating temperature, which is a ridiculous 7 Kelvin. Which is
Minus 447.
yeah, for those in the US, minus 447 degrees Fahrenheit, and for the rest of the world, minus 266 degrees Celsius.
That's cold.
Impressive.
Really cold. Which is why, if you look at like the picture here of the James Webb, it's got these massive layers of sun shields because you can't have the sun. The sun makes things too hot. And there's a whole lot of work that was done to like thermally isolate. So the bit on the bottom here, I think, is the hot side. The bit on the top is the cold side, I think. Could be wrong about that, but they're very thermally isolated. And a huge amount of work went into making sure that no heat could transfer between the two. Because at 7 degrees Kelvin, you know, any bit of heat is a lot of heat.
That had to have been so much fun to build. Just like planning all that.
Is fun the right word?
I think so. Just like throwing heat at it and trying to cool it down.
Yeah. Oh no, stressful at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I read something about like the James Webb Telescope having over something like 200 plus single points of failure, and luckily none of them failed, and we're good to go. But
Yeah.
I could not imagine, you know, the amount of stress the engineers were under as it was launching and deploying. But thankfully everything went okay so far.
Yeah, I mean, as Airbox kind of points out here, this was the ultimate test in production because there's no fixing it if it goes wrong. It's millions of miles away. But yeah, there you go. So the coldest bit of it has reached operating temperature, which kind of sets it on a track to actually start doing science pretty soon.
Right on. Well, I will just wait till you tell me there's an update.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear about it once it actually starts taking some operational pictures. And our final bit of news, this is an interesting one I saw come up, and I was like, this is pretty cool. Someone has done a census of every Minecraft server on the internet. And it turns out there's 160,000 Minecraft servers on the internet.
I would have expected that higher.
Same.
Yeah,
Oh, but the player counts. Is that for some of these servers?
yeah, these are the top player counts that this script discovered.
Okay, I don't believe that first one, but
No. So you can, having done Minecraft servers before, you can absolutely set the number to anything you want. Yeah.
Oh, I see. As in the negative ones.
Yeah. Yeah. You can say it's a literally anything. But it's, I don't know. This article is really interesting to actually like read through in detail. But I thought it was just wild that there's 160,000 publicly accessible Minecraft servers.
Do you guys play Minecraft?
Rarely.
Never.
I don't know. It's like it's one of those games that you can just go back to at any point,
Yeah,
and it's just as fun as it was the first time.
I've the only time I've actually put in any time in Minecraft has been in Minecraft VR on the HTC Vive. It was pretty surreal and a very very fun experience playing Minecraft in VR. But I couldn't get into the just like desktop or mobile version. But it's a phenomenon.
Yeah, so it definitely is. I mean, it's been through its ups and downs, but it's an immensely popular game. But yeah, I'll say this article is really interesting. There's a huge amount of analysis that was actually done on this data.
Yeah.
And it's all just public. Like the person behind this just wrote a little script that hit every single IP address on the internet. Because you can do that.
That's
I
very
had
cool.
I had a colleague of mine create. He did this for a talk, but essentially what he did was he scanned all of the public IP or all of the IP addresses, looking at the X powered by header to see what fun stuff people were putting in their HTTP headers in their servers, and he scanned something like 14 15 million different websites, and he had some really really funny powered by powered by the forest, powered by my toaster, all sorts of really interesting, because you could really put any string there. And I thought that was a fun talk. I'll see if I can dig it up and share it in the channel.
Yeah, definitely. But there you go. That's the news this week. I feel we ran on a bit, but there was a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. So
Yeah,
what's
that was
next?
a good bit of news.
Game? We got a game this week?
So we do. I did get access to the Kahoot account, so we could also do the Kahoot.
Oh, let's do that then.
Sweet. I will kick it off. It's this one is titled Bits and Bytes Weird Tech Stuff.
Do you want to share your screen?
Yes. Let me do this. So actually, let's do this.
I'm betting, gonna have Chrome here go. Oh, sorry, can't share that screen.
I feel like my permissions get reset daily now.
It's ridiculous.
Ever since
just before the
100.
show started, I had to do it as well. I'm like, Chrome hasn't changed. It worked last week. Cool, we're in. So if you want to participate in the quiz and win some stickers or something else if you've won before, go to kahoot.it and enter the game pin 8196654. Yeah. So what did you say it was? Weird tech things.
Weird tech things.
Hey.
All right. Rational Goat is in. Glowing Goose, Blue Zebra.
And whilst we're waiting for people to join, we've got to do our word of the week, which this week is just cloud. Controversial word. What is cloud?
I
Someone
don't know.
Someone else's servers.
Yeah. No one knows what cloud is. People think it's a thing. It's not. Just some servers somewhere. It's nothing more than that.
Yeah, it's fun the different terms we were coming up with these past 5 years, I guess 10 years, all to say somebody else's servers.
Yeah. Well, no, to be fair, I think it does bring some implications, right? You know, if you say you're running something in the cloud, it's not just running on someone's server. It's running on a server with a decent SLA and a proper company.
Yeah.
But
What about serverless?
Oh, well, that's still someone's server, Chris.
I remember when I first heard that, I was like, I'm a pretty good developer at this point in my career. And then I heard serverless. And I'm like, wait, how are we doing magic now?
But, it's just the cables themselves know what to send back.
Cool. So I think we can get the Kahoot started. Start the game this week. We have 7 people in, and there's still time to join. And I promise we didn't pick a random one this time. We had Amy actually curate it. So we'll hopefully get much better questions. And Amy unfortunately couldn't join us. She isn't feeling too well today, but this one's for Amy. So
Let's do it.
So bits and bytes, weird tech stuff.
Full space stack?
What? Which of these is not considered a full stack technology? Lamp, brew, mean, and wamp. There you go. All right, before we go to the next question, what do all of these mean?
So mean is Mongo, Express, Angular, and Node. And I never liked it because Express and Node are kind of the same thing. But LAMP,
Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP.
yeah.
Classics.
I think.
Yeah.
WAMP is Apache, MySQL, PHP, and Windows.
Is it Windows?
Would these be considered full stack technologies?
Well, like, yeah. It's the full stack.
You have the front end, back end, database, and the server. Yeah.
Where's JavaScript?
Chris, he's a PHP, okay? It can do everything.
Oh, okay.
All right, jumping on. And brew, what would brew be if it was a full?
Oh,
Bower.
yeah, okay.
React,
Okay.
Express, and WebAssembly.
Actually a viable stack.
3 of them are like the same exact thing.
All right, Dandy Elephant, number 1.
Oh, we need to say the thing. You may notice that not everyone has the same score here. Well, that's because Kahoot rewards you not only for getting it correct, but for being fast about getting it correct. So the faster you press the correct answer, the more points you get.
Thank you, Matt. Jumping into our next question.
Which of these is not part of the 3-tier app? Presentation, security, data, or application?
I like Ayer's WebSocket for the W.
There's no backend there. Oh, Express, I guess. There you go. Security is not part of the 3-tier app definition.
Yeah.
Creative Camel takes the lead.
Just don't worry about it.
That's a 3.1 tier.
This commonly used program in the 1990s allowed you to search for files available on one or more FTP servers. Archie, Duotronic, Slicer, or Google?
And the answer is Archie. I vaguely remember Archie. Vaguely.
You're telling me that Google couldn't search for things?
I clicked Google because I thought it might be able to.
Yeah,
Version 1.
it feels like a genuine backstory to Google. Before it searched the internet, it searched FTP servers.
There you go.
Seems believable.
Rockstar Stork takes the lead.
3 in a row.
Not bad.
I am not
All right.
on the leaderboard.
What is a PCB?
Got a printed circuit board, a punched cardboard, a punched circuit board, or a printed cardboard.
PCBs are in all your machines.
Oh, Airbox. I miss FileZilla.
Files are still around, right?
So, printed circuit board is the answer.
Yep, and it's kind of the magic that makes most electronics in the world work today. You have all your components just on its one board, they all link together.
And that's what it looks like being made.
So I'm not sure that was a technically accurate diagram.
So Rockstar Stork continues their reign.
I've got all of them right so far. Pretty
That
impressive.
better not be Amy. Which one of these is not an officially recognized mascot? We have Linux's Tux, Java's Duke, Apple's Lisa, or Microsoft Windows Chan.
I need to go Google.
I'm really curious what this is. Wait, what? You're telling me that Microsoft's Windows Chan is an officially recognized mascot? Hang on. It is.
Wow.
Windows Chan is an official Microsoft mascot from Microsoft Taiwan. The
Is it
more
like-
you learn.
Yeah. I have so many questions.
Let's see. Rockstar Stork didn't look
Lost
like
the streak.
they didn't get it right, but they're still in the lead. So nice. And Creative Lion is catching up. So jumping into the next question. Which technology wasn't used to power NASA spacecraft? PlayStation, Linux, NVIDIA, Apple. And the first one is PlayStation. I think we just had a small
okay,
typo.
Typo, yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I remember PlayStation was used in a lot of research capability, like the PlayStation 3 specifically. It had that cell architecture that was very, very good for compute. And I remember a lot of universities and a lot of tech institutions would buy a bunch of PS3s because you could run Linux on them, like out of the box. And they used them for research because the cell microprocessors were so efficient.
Yeah,
What was
I
that
remember.
That
called?
doesn't surprise me.
Folding at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly that. So I remember hearing stories of NASA using PlayStations for simulation and stuff.
But
Yeah.
and then Nvidia, I mean, I'm sure they have a lot of GPU related things that Nvidia could help with.
Oh, they tricked the NASA administrator into playing while working. I like it.
Dan the Elephant back at the top. Right on. Cool. Which NASA publication publishing since 1976 features technology made available to the public? Is it Spinoff, Briefs, Innovation, or Result?
I don't fully understand what's happening in this question.
I'm going to go with NASA has a publication called Spinoff, which releases kind of their research to the public.
Oh, okay. I see. I thought it was like NASA has released technology to the public, like because NASA develops a lot of consumer tech
Mhm.
or things that get to be consumer tech.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Champion Koala taking the lead.
3 questions to go. Anyone's game still?
Which consumer product wasn't originally a NASA project?
There you go, Chris.
Bowflex, enriched
There we go.
baby food, friction reducing speedos, or barcode? Wasn't originally a NASA project. Barcodes.
I'm
I got
really
that
curious
wrong.
now why NASA invented enriched baby food.
Well, I feel like maybe it was like space food that
Yeah.
ended up becoming, enriched baby food. Or just like I would assume the research was kind of translated
Fit-
over to baby food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fit
that makes sense.
nutrition into mushy stuff.
Yeah. Friction reducing speedos. I could also see how you might need that in space. Maybe, maybe not.
Well, I'm sure that was more, they invented a material.
For the spacesuit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Bowflex. That's an interesting one. I guess you got to get fit in space.
I think to prevent muscle atrophy.
Ah,
Cool.
but barcodes
Also,
were not.
when you're in 0G, your muscles aren't doing that much.
So let's look at the leaderboard.
Oh, no one
Champion
moved at all.
Koala remains with 46-38, but it's still anybody's game. So
All right,
let's jump
2
into
more.
the next question. Which of these robots was a real thing? Elron, the lackey robot, Lit Rob, the literary robot, Tomaten, the wearable tomato robot, or Wed, the treadmill repair droid?
I'm not even gonna try.
And Tomaton, the wearable tomato robot. We have to Google this.
I'm Googling.
That seems like the most useless of the 4.
Well, let's hear him out.
Is
Let's let him tell a story.
literally a robot that is a tomato that you can wear. It just feeds.
Does it feed you?
It just feeds you tomatoes.
Oh, its
Cool.
face is perfect.
Well, it is.
I've always wanted to go for a run and have a robot to feed me tomatoes whilst I'm running.
I found the thing I have to buy today.
The applications of this thing are endless.
Wow.
So Champion Koala remains in first place, but Rockstar Stork is very, very close,
Oh,
and we have one question left.
this is
so
going to be a tight final question.
Let's do it. What can't Doom run on? A Rocketbook, a MacBook Touch Bar, a karaoke machine, or within Sonic Mania?
I'm surprised that one of these is an answer. The fact you're telling me that one of these can't run Doom.
Can't
I don't
or
believe it.
can?
A Rocketbook cannot run Doom. I've seen Doom run on a MacBook Touch Bar. I have not seen it run on a karaoke machine or within Sonic Mania, but a Rocketbook, I don't even know what
I don't
that
even know
is.
what a Rocketbook is. Yeah.
So I have Googled it. It is a smart notebook
Oh,
that syncs your notes to the cloud.
well, I think this is a challenge for a Rocketbook now to get Doom running.
If you want a good marketing stunt, Rocketbook.
Or Doom Community if you need another device to run Doom on.
So only 3 people got this one right, and so let's see who won.
Rocket Stork, Rockstar Stork,
Nice.
Rocketbook.
Dandy Elephant, and Champion
right.
Koala.
Interestingly, all three 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
So there you go. It was the speed that mattered here. So if you are Champion Koala in chat, take a screenshot of your winning screen on Kahoot and send us an email. I am mcowley@digitalocean.com. I will type it out in chat for you. Send us an email with a screenshot and your shipping address, and we will send you some stickers for winning. Congratulations.
Right on.
Congrats.
Learned a lot of new things in that one.
Yeah, that was a really good quiz.
Lots of weird stuff. The tomato robot is definitely something I will be looking to purchase this afternoon if possible.
Wait, Tunar and Captain, really?
What am I sending you this week?
At
In your
this point,
email.
I think he's salaried now.
Yeah. In your email, let me know what you want. There we
Cool.
go.
Well, thank you all for playing with us. We can move on to what's on your mind.
Yeah. Chris, I'm going to let you go first here this week.
Yeah.
Because you've already teased what you wanted to talk about. I'm
Yeah.
really curious.
I have been a big proponent of the Jamstack, and by design, Jamstack is built to be, I feel, microservice-y, like bring in a bunch of different things, connect them together, and you have your super monolith or your super app that can do everything. But I don't know, a lot of that process of linking everything together is so boring and not fun. So I just miss the stacks like Rails or like Laravel, where you just throw everything on into one repo and you have a full stack app database. And the things that Jamstack doesn't really do well are the things that are kind of like wrapping on your app. So that would be like handling emails, like welcome emails, your account's about to expire emails, handling payments, and then giving users a way to manage payments, view their invoices. Not great. Queues in cron, not great. Just a lot of stuff that hasn't been solved yet, I think. Even with Remix, there's a lot of stuff that is like everything I said, emails, queues, payments. I don't know. But like stuff like Laravel has all that built in and is wrapped nicely in a UI or in a nice API to use. So I don't think I'm leaving JavaScript completely. I'll still use it for the front end and stuff. But I think as far as backend duties, building out APIs, there are great tools that do everything under the sun in one location.
Yeah, I would +1 to Rails. I know as a team, we just moved away from Rails to kind of a Node microservice structure, which I'm enjoying because we were on a very old version of Rails that was a mess. But modern Rails is really good. And you can still put a proper, you can put React in front of it still, and it works. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding is like stuff like Laravel and Rails, they don't have to be the one-stop shop now. You can just build your backend API, have all the bells and whistles, and still have fun with your front end, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, they're not opinionated, unlike most JavaScript frameworks. Yeah.
Yeah. So
controversial. We're leaving. Can't believe it.
Hit me up in a week and I'll tell you where I land because I still have to do my analysis. Yeah, what's on your minds?
On my mind, nothing much really. But one thing I've been thinking about recently, our team for the first time this week has done a production deploy every day. And it's just made me stop to think about like, at what point do we just go like full CI/CD and automatically prod deploy? I can't decide if we should, or if it's still too risky because it scares me, right? Even though we are testing commits before they get merged into the main branch, and then we stage the main branch before it goes to production, it still scares me, the idea of a commit as soon as it's merged going on its own to prod. But we're pretty much there. We've done a deploy this week for every single thing that's been merged.
Have you seen any issues ever with the current setup?
Yes. Two of the deploys this week did not go well and took me manually fixing them, which is why I'm so scared about making it automatic.
But I mean, they would have gotten through anyway.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm tempted.
How long do deploys take?
A very, very long time. Well, interesting actually. The Node microservice bits are pretty much instantaneous. It's like a 2-minute Docker image to build, and then it just pretty much instantly deploys. Node starts up and the health checks are responding straight away. The big thing for us, because of the way our architecture works, is that we pre-render every page on the whole of DigitalOcean. And that takes like 30 minutes to render everything. So that's
not even that bad.
Well, no, I was saying it's pretty ridiculous, really, actually. 30 minutes to render 41,000 pages.
Yeah, I've seen hour builds, 2-hour builds.
Yeah. So, I mean, in a sense, actually, the fact that it's slow is quite nice because you can stop it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm really on the fence, and it's what's on my mind currently in the back, kind of like in the background, just chewing on the idea of switching on automatic prod deploys.
Has there ever been a case where you caught something before, like when it was in staging, before merging in?
I can't think of anything other than like environment related stuff.
Which wouldn't have deployed anyway.
Yeah. I was like, if something broke, it broke in a way that wouldn't have gone out to the public. So it makes me think it's safe to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm gonna leave it to chew for a while, and then let the rest of the team chew on it as well, and see what we come up with. So that's what's on my mind.
Right on.
Ado, what's on your mind?
I had a lot of stuff, but now, if I'm being honest, it's the tomato robot.
Did we get a price on that?
Not yet, but all jokes aside, what's on my mind is really thinking about serverless technologies and and kind of thinking microservices versus monolithic applications. I think Chris got me thinking a little bit about, is microservices especially when you're a solo developer, is it the way to go? Just because, yes, you're writing less code potentially, but at the same time, you're also adding so many different dependencies. Like I could see serverless and microservice architecture being, working really well if you have a big team of like, 10, 15 or more developers, and they can all work independently and, push their code independently and deploy features independent of each other. But when you're just one or a two-person team, it makes it so much easier to just work in the same repo, work on the same code base, and the less dependencies you bring in, the better. So that's Chris kind of got me thinking about it, and between that and the tomato robot, I'm.
The other thing about it too is you have to pay for every microservice you bring in. So a solo developer could see like a SaaS app that's just getting off the ground already at like $100 per month.
Yeah, it's like death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. As if when we do microservice stuff, we roll it all ourselves. Don't want to risk bringing in external stuff. I like to be in control of what can break my production environment.
Yeah.
If somebody's breaking it, I'm
It's me.
breaking it.
I have also re-Googled this tomato robot to see if there was a price for it for you. And unfortunately, it was a one-off for the Tokyo Marathon.
Oh,
And it weighed 8 kilograms.
be right back. Let me do some quick.
17.5 pounds.
Thank you.
And they were expecting you to just wear this whilst you were running a marathon.
I hope to see it at auction in like 10 years.
I would imagine without.
Yeah, so throw on another couple pounds.
Well, you say that, but it does also state here, only 6 tomatoes.
So we have to have like a refill station at every mile marker.
Or, I mean, if you think about it, a marathon is what, 26 miles, so you can have a tomato every 5 or 6 miles. Just got to ration them.
White tomatoes. I feel like perfect combination of salt to water for a marathon.
Silly you, Chris, thinking it was a health reason. It was commissioned by a Japanese ketchup company.
Ah, sponsored. Of course.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Shall we jump into upcoming events?
Yes.
What's happening? Tech Talks? Any Tech Talks coming up?
So I have my first Tech Talk coming up in about 2 weeks on May the 4th. I will be talking about building modern applications with MongoDB and DigitalOcean. So that's going to be really fun. Just to give you guys a preview, we'll do some fun Star Wars related stuff because that'll be on May the 4th. And then in May, Kim will actually be traveling for KubeCon EU. So if you want to meet the DO team or at least Kim in person, she will be at KubeCon EU. And Kim also has her weekly live stream that she does on Tuesdays at 3 o'clock Eastern. And then I'm sure there's a couple of other Tech Talks that we have planned for May and June.
So I'm looking on the community website, and it looks like there's a Tech Talk next week. Yes, best practices in monitoring a Kubernetes cluster with Prometheus, Grafana, and Loki, which is Kim on the 27th, which is next Wednesday. There you go.
Next. Yes.
So that's what's coming up. And obviously, we're here every Thursday. That's about
And-
it for the show. But most importantly, I have been told by Ado that there is a joke of the day.
There is, and I know it's hard to follow up Mason's jokes of the day, but let's try, and hopefully this one wasn't done before. But what is the object-oriented way to become wealthy?
How?
Does anybody in the chat want to guess?
Oh, we're going for actual guesses. This could be interesting.
Oh, Airbox got it. Inheritance.
Inheritance. Oh, brilliant.
Nice.
There you go.
Right
Well,
on. Well,
Well done,
That's
Airbox.
it. That is the end of Cloud Chats. Thank you for joining us. It was a wonderful episode. Lots of news. Lots of game. A wonderful joke to finish us off. We'll see you next week.
Thank you all.
thanks everybody.